Welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna, and today we're visiting with Jeremy McGill. He's the Hopkins County Extension Agent for Agriculture and Natural Resources. Well, today we're going to talk about some of the mechanics behind rotational grazing, temporary fencing.
It's pretty low tech because all you really have to have is a power source, so an energizer or a fence charger, a hot box, whatever you want to call it. You have to have the wire itself and posts to hold the wire up, and that's it. So the hard way would be to take your poly wire and just roll it up around a 5-gallon bucket. We've all seen producers do that. It works good one time, but when they go to unroll it off of that 5-gallon bucket, the next year it comes to be a mess. So there are several different types of reels made from the industry. You can get them that are geared. So when you turn the handle one time, the spool may spin 3. Which means you either have to walk faster or reel slower. And you can also get just plain reels that's a 1-to-1 geared ratio. And some people even use things like cord reels, like you would use for an extension cord. Not necessarily recommended because of the UV stabilization of them, but they will work to roll up wire on.
Yeah. Now, are these rather expensive to purchase?
Anywhere from the $35 range on up to maybe the $150 plus, depending on what features and additions you put on the reel. So a 1-to-1 geared reel, for example, or a non-geared reel is not going to be very expensive. Very basic. There's not a lot of fancy frills and features to it. But as you add things like a wire guide or the geared mechanism, or maybe a hook device that hangs it on the fence, and of course that adds to cost. So if you can make this easy, then you're more apt to use the equipment, and then your operation is going to see gains from it. With temporary fencing, that's something that we can almost immediately see a response on within one grazing season, just from a forage management perspective and also a game perspective in a lot of cases. So.
Absolutely. And with forages being short, this is a great way to hopefully extend that grazing out, because as the longer we can have them graze, the better our profitability is, the better the nutrients are, just kind of a win-win for everybody.
There's basically 3 or 4 different options on step-in posts because we have to have something to hold the wire up, right? So one option, which is not the easiest or most recommended, would be to take like a rebar post and a hammer, and every time you set a post on the ground, you've got to hammer it in, screw the insulator on, thread the wire through it. So that would be the most inconvenient, but could be the least cost in some cases. And then you can start moving up into equipment that's actually made for temporary fencing, that's easy to put in and take out of the ground, and easy to put the wire in. So within that realm, you have something that is equipped with a metal shaft, which can take a little more abuse, but you're usually limited to 1 strand of wire, which is fine for most of us that are beef producers, and we're just using this to keep cattle, mature cattle, off of the areas that we're trying to exclude. So if you are wanting to run more than 1 wire, then there are many options on a plastic or a poly type post. You can see here, this one has multiple lugs on it. Almost every manufacturer that makes electric fence products makes some type of a poly post. And they're all going to have anywhere from 6 to 8 lugs. So if you're running sheep and goats, which can be rotational graze too, then you're normally going to have to run more than 1 strand. And so you have that flexibility with a multi-lug post like this. Because in most cases, it is going to take some exercise to get out and string up your electric fence. And as you can see, you can carry a handful of posts and walk across the field. The typical interval between temporary posts on a single strand is somewhere around 30 feet. Now, some producers want to stretch it out a little bit further, and that's fine. So what I will do personally is I'll shoot for 10 steps, which is about 30 feet. And then I'll look behind me at the terrain and think, well, maybe I can make it about 6 more feet or 2 more steps or 3 more steps. So somewhere between 30 and 45 feet. You're not going to have to over tighten your poly wire. There's a publication on grounding for electric fence because that is the most important part of the system. Unfortunately, it's the most overlooked part of the system. And then also there's a great publication on offsets for electric fencing, because a lot of folks, they have a perimeter fence that's non-electric, like a woven wire or barbed wire. They want to do something with temporary fencing or poly wire, and they're pretty much limited to having to move a solar energizer around every time they move their reel. So with an offset fence, they can utilize that existing woven wire perimeter, for example, put a single strand of high tensile around that woven wire, and now they have an extension cord that they can hook into with their poly wire on any side of the farm where you've got that 1 single strand of hot electric.
Thanks for watching the Farm and Home Show, and we hope you have a great day.